Let's get ready to rumble. Hey folks, that was my best Michael Buffer interpretation, but having a little fun, been doing a bunch of patterning, testing. I thought we'd do something a little bit different today. I've got some 8oz Bismuth. I know these are really popular right now. This is the 28 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, number 5, 7/8 ounce. I think 7/8 is all they're doing in the 2 3/4 right now. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. What this is going to battle against is a recent returned load that I got back from Precision that tested good. It's my version of the 28 gauge 7/8 ounce bismuth load. I'm using BPI Sphero bismuth. It's the nice little, tin plated or whatever they call it. But anyway, it's a pretty nice shot. I mean, it's round. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into bismuth a little bit. I've never messed with it. I think I talked about that one in the 410 video. But for some reason, it's becoming very popular. It's been around for ages. So I got a hold of some 8oz. It was probably the most readily available. I'm trying to get some Kent's got an offering. I think Fiocchi's got an offering. Kind of hard to get this stuff, and it's not real cheap, especially with shipping and everything. And I actually, when I ordered this, I ordered some 3.5 mix. I ordered some 3-inch stuff. So I got some stuff coming up that I'll be doing on 8oz. But today, I wanted to, obviously pattern everything. I love to pattern. So I thought, you know what, let's go out and let's pattern the load that I just got back that tested positive, or not positive. It was a good load under pressure against basically a similar, load. And I might do some more of that, especially with steel offerings and other bismuth, lead. We can do it with lead too. But anyway, I went out to the farm. I should have some footage. I haven't even checked it yet, but I did have the cameras out there. I shot these from 40 yards. And well, you'll see for yourself. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to look at the patterns, and I'm not going to tell you which one is which, okay? See if you can figure it out. It might surprise you. It might not. So I think it'll be kind of neat to have the Royal Rumble, the pattern of the boards or battle of the boards or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so hopefully if I've got this footage, I'll take you out to the farm. I'll show you shooting these rounds. And then I'll come back. We'll take a look at the patterns. And then, as usual, I'll probably have some closing thoughts on, what my thoughts are on, number one, bismuth. This is the first time I've ever shot it out of a 28 gauge. So anyway, let's go shoot these jokers, take a look at the patterns, and see what we come up with. 7/8 ounce, number 5, 40 yards, cylinder choke. 7/8 ounce 8oz, number 5, improved cylinder choke, 40 yards. .7/8 ounce 8oz, number 5, 40 yards, modified choke. .8oz 7/8, number 5, improved modified choke, 40 yards. 7/8 ounce Boss, number 5, 40 yards, full choke. Woo. Hand loaded 7/8 ounce Bismuth, 40 yards, full choke. Hand load 7/8 ounce Bismuth, 40 yards, number 5 shot, improved modified. All right, hand load 7/8 ounce Bismuth, number 5, 40 yards. This is with a modified choke. Right, 7/8 Bismuth, 40 yards, improved cylinder choke. Seven-eighths ounce hand-loaded Bismuth 5, 40 yards. This is with a cylinder choke. All right, folks, I'm just holding this camera. With my hand, it might be a little shaky. I just want to talk to you about marking up a bismuth pattern. Okay, here's what we're looking for. That's a nice hole. That's a number 5 shot hole. 5 shot hole, 5 shot hole. That is not. It's a fragment, something, maybe blowback on the target. That's not a number 5 hole. That's not a number 5 hole. That's number 9 at best. So, just like we talked, you're gonna see some little spots on these bismuth patterns that don't get marked. Perfect number 5 hole, perfect number 5 hole. That's probably not getting marked, okay? More examples. Perfect number 5 hole. Shrapnel. Again, so there's bismuth patterns are a nightmare to mark because you just have to, you know, decipher what's a good hole, what's not. Good hole. I mean, really, that's probably not a good hole. But that's probably not a good hole. That's just some kind of blowback on the target or shrapnel. Another example of little tiny shrapnel compared to a perfect number 5 hole. All right. All right. Let the battle begin. Now, these are the patterns. I did cylinder, improved cylinder, modified, improved modified, and then full choke. Hopefully you saw the shots. I'm probably announced it as I was shooting. But anyway, I've gone and done some calculations. I've got total number of pellets in the circle, and then I've got a pattern percentage. So the 7/8 ounce of number 5 bismuth has 172 pellets basically in the load. That's what it's going to start out with. So it's kind of what we're going off of. And, you know, obviously this is for waterfowl. You know, these patterns, waterfowl patterns are always going to have more of a I guess, distance. And you, I mean, you don't want it to be too tight. Be blowing stuff up, damaging meat, whatnot, whatever. But anyway, this is cylinder choke at 40 yards, okay? Now, I guess we'll call this shell number 1. This is shell number 2. And to be honest with you, they both fail on this one. But again, this is cylinder choke. Really, you really, cylinder 25, 30 yards, I think would be the max on anything. Now, believe it or not, with steel shot, I use it in close with number 5 steel. This number 1 has 31 pellets inside the circle. That's an 18% pattern efficiency. Number 2 has got 48 pellets inside the circle, and it's got a 28% efficiency, which is actually really good for cylinder, because I think cylinder is like 25. But anyway, so let's change it over to improved cylinder, and we'll go from there. All right, improved cylinder. We'll start with number 1. So number 1 has 66 pellets inside that pattern. And, to look at this, for a waterfowl pattern, it's not terribly bad. It's kind of splotchy here, but the pattern's kind of full. But there's only 87 pellets on the whole entire 40-inch by 40-inch circle, which, I don't know, to me it's concerning, but we've got 38% efficiency with this particular round. Now let's look at number 2. We have 72 pellets in the circle. Okay, 72 in the circle, 97 has hit the whole entire 40 by 40 target. It's a 41.8, you could say 42% efficiency. But as you can see, it's got little splots here and there too. But, it's not terribly bad. We still haven't even got to modified efficiency, but we won't until the next one. So let's see how this stuff responds to chokes. All right, modified choke. This is when I expected for things to really start to come together. Everybody talks about, man, business chokes like lead. It chokes like lead. You got to really choke it. So number 1, there's 107 pellets on the paper. There's 87 inside of the circle. Again, a little blotchy, really tight right here. It's okay. 50% efficiency, right? Now, this is number 2. 119 on the paper. We got 87 in the circle. Well, isn't that something? It's a daggum tie, right? 50% efficiency. So the pattern in this one, even though you've got some small stuff going on, it does seem like maybe it's a little bit more uniform. And if we go back to this one, you almost would say, well, man, it looks like you just missed, and but there's a big hole here. Well, you know what? There's a big hole here too. So it's one thing that's very confusing to me. And when I started marking these up, obviously, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's look at improved modified. Improved modified. Well, we did have a tie race, but man, looks like number 2 is maybe starting to inch ahead here. Number 1, you kind of see something going on. Man, it's dead in here. And matter of fact, there's not even, there's like a big gaping space, but you see the same thing over here too. So there's 172 pellets in this round. Where the heck do they go? That's what this really reminds me of is, if you watch the 410 5/8 ounce bismuth video, I tried to pattern those things at 40 yards because, well, 5 bismuths would kill them at 40, and everything I shot was just terrible until I moved into 30. But anyway, 75 pellets are in the circle. That's a 43% efficiency. We actually lost efficiency. Number 2, we have 103 pellets inside the 30-inch circle. This is, by the way, I think you can see this. This is a much better pattern than that one. As a matter of fact, I would be glad to shoot that pattern out to 40. I think I could probably, if you can put that on the bird, you're gonna get them. But anyway, 59%. So let's look at full, see if anything changes with full. By the way, I think number 2 is in the lead at this point. What about y'all? Full choke. Yeah, I think we clearly have a winner that came out at the end. Let me talk about this real quick too. I think I know where some of this bismuth is going, right? So, for example, there are, you probably can't see it. I may do a close-up. I did a close-up when I was marking these patterns. I will tell you, bismuth is the most frustrating thing to pattern ever. But anyway, there are, you might see like a little hole or a little sliver, and you'll see them in this one too, not as much, but, and you might be saying, man, you didn't mark everything. You didn't mark all the holes. Let me tell you something. I loaded 7/8 ounce of shot. I'm expecting that pellet to hit this target. I'm not expecting a sliver, a number 9 size pellet, a number 12 size chunk. You know what I'm saying? So this is something we'll probably talk about here in a second. I'm gonna go back to the bench. But anyway, full choke. This one has 107 in there, 62%. This one has 71. The percentage actually fell. So for shell number 1, actually modified choke was the best choke that worked out of my gun, and you got a 50% pattern at 40 yards, okay? Of course, this one got you a 62% pattern, which is equivalent to about a modified choke, really. But I mean, that pattern I'd be comfortable with. And let me say this too. It's not like there's a lot of stuff around this. Even on this one, it's not like the pattern is just spread wide open. This shot is just gone. I don't know where it is, right? Obviously there's more on this one. Don't know if it just, if 30% of this stuff just flies away. I don't know if it breaks up. But anyway, that is the battle of the pattern boards. Let's go back to the bench and talk about this. Okay, so this is a bonus pattern. I just kind of want to put this into perspective, and this is for maybe just for my benefit, but I think people might want to see this. This was the highest pattern efficiency or density that we had, 62% in shell number 2. This is 7/8 ounce of number 3 steel, okay? Number 3 steel, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much right there with number 5 bismuth, okay? This is out of a 3-inch 28 gauge. I know not everybody has a 3-inch 28 gauge, but it's getting popular. This is where the 3-inch 28 gauge is going to shine, folks. This is a load that I've been working on. I'm almost ready to start putting some info out about this. 7/8, number 3 steel. There's like 134 pellets in this. By the way, there's 105 in the circle. That's a 78% pattern efficiency. I know where that shot is. That shot is right there. You know what I'm saying? Rosters tables show that number 3 steel is the best performing steel shot that they have. So I want to show you one more. All right. So I hope I'm not boring you guys to death with these patterns, but this is again 3-inch 7/8 ounce steel. Okay, 40 yards. This stuff's moving 1,400 plus feet per second. There's 91 pellets in that circle. 91 pellets. That's 83% pattern efficiency. There ain't but like 109 or 10 pellets in a number 2. Let me look. Yeah, there's 109 pellets in 7/8 ounce of number 2 shot. 105 of them are right there. You're looking at them. So, you know, number 2 steel, big ducks. There's people that shoot geese over decoys with this stuff, you know, and if you can put that circle, that pattern on him, he's done. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox. All right, man. Bismuth might drive me crazy. I tell you, it might just drive me crazy. I hate to pause so much, but I'm just trying to think. Look, I don't have this stuff scripted, guys. I just talk off the cuff. But sometimes it's mind-boggling. One of the thoughts that I had when I was marking these up, I mean, no, I don't really look at these things until I put them up there where you guys are looking at them. But as I was marking them, obviously I'm counting the numbers. And I was thinking to myself, man, where is all this shot going? Where is it going? It was, and just like I said, when I was looking at the patterns, it's almost like the 410. The 410, you know, I was sitting there thinking, man, maybe we're just pushing this little 410 too far. You know, the barrel's just too narrow, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the more I shot with this 28 gauge, maybe it's not so much the barrel, maybe bismuth, you know, it just flies all over the place, it seems like. I mean, we contain 60% of it in load number 2, you know, with a full choke. But man, let me tell you something. If I go to the duck line, I do not want to be married to a full choke. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I understand, well, maybe you take a box of tubes with you. Well, I always do, but it's in the truck. You know, I don't want to be carrying a dang bunch of tubes and wrench in my waders or duck gear. I mean, that's kind of silly to do that. But hey, if that's you, you do you. You know, because if you have to choke it with a full choke to get that kind of pattern, you really aren't going to be able to shoot nothing else. I mean, unless you, I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. I don't know what else, what other kind. I mean, steel shot, man, I don't think it's going to respond to a full choke or an improved modified choke like that. None of the steel I've shot. Matter of fact, the patterns that I showed you earlier with the steel 3-inch 28 gauge, those are shot with a modified choke. Okay, think about that. All right, modified choke, an 83% pattern efficiency at 40 yards with number 2 shot. Really, it probably needs to be choked down a little bit. You know, improved cylinder. Maybe not. With number 2, there's so little shot. That's probably just perfect. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, it'd be hard to go on a hunt and be using some type of bismuth load and be, you know, married to you know, or stuck with a full choke or a big extended improved modified or something like that, because it really wouldn't perform with anything else. Another thing that's concerning too is the breakup of these pellets. Again, this is the first time I've ever messed with bismuth. I've heard about it. My memories when, you know, 6 months ago when I first thought about, hey man, let me do some bismuth stuff. I think it might be relevant to people that are duck hunting right now, or even upland game. Anywhere where non-toxic stuff is needed, you know, because obviously that's something that's coming down the pipeline. But anyway, I shot some of this 3-inch stuff. And I shot another round that I've come up with against the 3-inch stuff. And when I was patterning it, or not patterning it, but marking the patterns, there's all these little slivers, all these little tiny holes, oblong, crazy looking stuff. And, you know, when I did those first sets of patterns, I actually marked everything. I'm like, you know what? If it hits it, it's probably good. But then I got to thinking today when I shot this stuff and I started marking it up, I'm like, you know what? I loaded 7/8 ounce of shot in this thing. I'm expecting 7/8 ounce to make it to my target. And look, number 1 and number 2, they both had some fracturing, right? So number 1 more than others. And it seemed like the tighter the choke got, the more that it got. So there's all these theories about when does the shot break up, what causes the shot to break up, and you'll hear anything from pressure, set back a shot when the round is fired. You'll also hear people talk about banging as it goes down the barrel. Well, I can tell you what I experienced today. Number 1, the boss shell felt like more recoil. You know, the numbers will say that it's got more recoil, that's for sure, just by velocity by itself. So something had to get it started to get more recoil. So you got some kind of pressure that may cause some fracturing in there. And the same thing with the load that I come up with too. Even though it's a little bit slower in velocity, doesn't mean it won't fracture on setback. But also on restriction, it seemed like the more it choked, the more of those little shrapnel shards that I was seeing. And that was on both, right? Again, the boss seemed to have more of that. That's why, you know, you might see some of that stuff. But look, I'm not going to mark a hole in a pattern that's not a pellet. I mean, that's not fair to the round. It's not fair to the bird. It's not fair to nobody, because guess what? It didn't get there. It's not going to do anything for you. It might peel a feather back, but that's it, okay? Anyway, off that soapbox. So do y'all want to know what was what, right? I don't think I've spilt the beans yet, have I? But anyway, shell number 1, Boss. 7/8 ounce, number 5 bismuth. That was the boss round. Shell number 2 was a 7/8 ounce load that I put together, had tested. It came back on the 14th. So I'll be doing a video putting that load together coming up at some point. I'll probably do a what's in the box on the boss. So that video will be coming up. I'm trying to get my hands on some other bismuth stuff. I'll go ahead and tell you, at this point, I'm not in love with bismuth. Just from patterning the 2 rounds that I've patterned, and you know, yes, is it comforting that a load that I put together seems to perform on par, if not maybe a little bit better than a factory load? Yeah, it always does, right? But that's, as reloaders, that's why we do this. That's why we're here. Now, I know I'm going to get somebody that's going to say, man, Bullet, why didn't you pattern at 30 yards? You know, all the ducks I shoot, they come in 30 yards, decoys. Well, let me tell you something. If I'm if I'm hunting anything and I know my shots are going to be within 30 yards, I'm not shooting bismuth in the first place. You'd be crazy to. There's 3/4 ounce, even 5/8 ounce of steel, number 3s or 4s, and they will bust ducks inside 35 yards all up and down. there's just no need for it unless you just have to have you some bismuth. That's why I patterned it at 40. That's the appeal to me of bismuth, is that, yeah, it's got a little bit more energy than steel, right? Number 5, bismuth, running at 1350, gets 1.5 inches of gel penetration, which is commonly used for lethality of ducks, you know, in a bunch of circles, out to about 41 yards, something like that, I think. Number 3, steel, that we looked at. Well, guess what? It's good till about 39 yards, right? Number 2, steel, that's good out to about 48 yards. But you got to run it a little faster. And by the way, those steel patterns that I showed you, they're running over 1,400 feet per second, okay? And I'm just about ready. You know, I want to get my hands on some more factory stuff. Federal's making a steel round right now, so I can kind of compare. I know what my equipment's telling me, but I just want to compare it to other stuff that I know that's out there in steel, which now that Federal's making some black cloud stuff, I'll be able to do that. And then hopefully pass it on to you folks and you can try it. It's been fun. It was kind of frustrating. I think y'all might be able to see the frustration in my face on this bismuth. I don't even know. I get lost in all the things that are wrong with it. Every pattern had some blotchiness to it. Every pattern was had a core, so it wasn't like, you know, it patterned just all over the place, which is kind of what you'll see with lead. You know, you'll just say it'll just slowly open up. Steel opens up. You know, if you don't have it choked right, it'll open up, but it's even. And, you know, so there's something to be said with either the malleability of bismuth or how it fractures or the way it reacts. Because it is harder than lead, but it still has some give to it as far as softness. I mean, obviously it's not going to hurt your gun barrel. So very confusing. I can see if you throw more shot at it that you're going to get better patterns. And matter of fact, I know because I've shot the 3-inch version of it, right? So I know if you throw more shot at it, and by the way, a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge, man, I'm sure you get really good patterns. You might not get a super high density or efficiency of pattern, but it's probably going to be a good pattern. It'll probably take birds. I'll tell you another thing too. Just from what I'm seeing, you know, bismuth, look here, the 28 gauge is still the 28 gauge. You have to be on the money. You know, this isn't just let me get close to the bird and squeeze the trigger. You've got to be able to hit the bird, right? It's kind of like the 410. It's kind of the expert's gun. Well, you know, you got to put that 30-inch circle on that bird. There's nothing left around that pattern to give you that, you know, magic BB, as some people might call it. And you hit them in the neck or hit them in the head if you happen to be in front of the bird or something like that. So you have to be on your game. Now, all this is if you're shooting birds at 35, 40 yards. If you're shooting birds over decoys with their feet down, there's no sense in shooting this. I mean, there's absolutely not. Steel, I think, is a better option because it's cheaper. Matter of fact, it's probably more than half the price to even hand load it, right? Well, I know it is to hand load it, but even to buy the stuff, it's probably less expensive. Again, I don't want to get off on the big rant and that, but man, there's so much stuff that I would like to talk about. I almost would be like, if y'all want me to answer something or you want my thoughts on something, put a question down there and say, hey man, tell me about this or tell me what you think about this, you know, and maybe I could sit down and just talk about some stuff for a minute or two. I know those videos are kind of boring, but I know there's information out there that people would like to have, or even just thoughts. I mean, heck, I like to hear what people's thoughts on stuff are all the time. So the more information that we can share, the more stuff that we know, right? Oh, let me go back to one more thing. Man, I almost forgot about this. Buffer. None of this stuff had buffer. I think that buffer, obviously it'll make a difference. It'll change the dynamics of my load a little bit. I think I could get away with, I think I've got about 1,000 PSI to work with on my load. Buffer can change a lot. I'd probably have to change my load up completely. I mean, and that goes back into reloading. And trust me, you can't just take a load and just start throwing buffer in it and say, okay, man, that's good. You're talking about pressure increases and spikes like you've never seen before, right? Sometimes 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 PSI, which is not good. So I might give this one more shot with some buffer, and then obviously I'll have to, bump everything with pressure trace to where I think I'm good, and then I can send it in and let Precision take a look at it, right? But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Did I tell y'all who? Yeah, I did. I almost forgot. But hit the like button. Look here, if y'all want to see what's in the box, if y'all want to see more Battle of the Board, hit the like button. And I'm not like this, well, hit the like button if you want to, but hit that subscribe button. And there's also, when you hit subscribe, there's a little bell. If you click the bell, it'll notify you when I put out a video. So that way you can see the next one, right? So thanks for watching. It was fun. I probably look like I've been beat like a horse. I only shot about 200 rounds today. And patterned and marked up 25 patterns. So it was a busy day for me today. But I was excited about this stuff, so I wanted to put this out here. But anyway, y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.